this video, I want to point to one of your most valuable resources that might be greatly underused. And if it is, I hope in noticing it and seeing the value it offers, you might be able to utilize it in a way I was able to massively grow my business. And the way I'll share with you in this video, how the store Target was able to utilize it to double their sales in a single year. The resource that I'm pointing to here is valuable feedback. And by valuable feedback, I mean the type of feedback that allows you to greatly improve your products and services, strengthen your business, and build a healthier, stronger team that loves creating value for your customers. If you want to grow and scale your business, all you have to do is serve more customers and serve your current customers with a bigger impact, because people pay us for the difference they see our product or service makes in their life. And the bigger of a difference that makes, the more they're willing to pay for it. And if you want to improve your product and services, your customers will tell you exactly how to do that if you know how to ask and receive the feedback. In my first decade of building my executive coaching business, I wasn't very receptive to this valuable feedback. And I struggled. I was at a plateau I couldn't get beyond. When your product or service is you, or you perceive it that way, it can be all too easy to take valuable feedback personally. And that's what I did for a decade. I was blind to my need to look good and be right. And so when I would receive the valuable feedback, because I knew to ask for it, I knew it was valuable, but I couldn't receive it and apply it. And then something happened for me, which I'll share with you in this video, that almost overnight changed the way I saw related to and experienced feedback. Today, I see this valuable feedback as such a gift, and I experience it as if it's a new toy that I can't wait to try out the next time. In so doing, I've been able to grow and scale my business in a single year more than I was an entire decade. Before I tell you how I was able to make that transition, I want to share with you Target's story. Because you see, Target, like most stores, has a lot of information on their customers. But this information, if you don't know how to apply it, it doesn't do any good. And so they got feedback from their customers. And to paint the picture, see, what happened is that they would get all of this information on a customer's buying habit, market to them specifically and directly. But what that would look like was what happened one day in a Minneapolis Target. A man comes in to ask for the manager, and he hands him the mailer, and he's very offended because it's full of baby products. He's like, "My daughter is still in high school. What are you trying to promote teenage pregnancy?" Well, the manager apologized. He felt bad the next week, called the man again. Turns out the girl was pregnant. She just hadn't told her father yet. So how does that happen? How does Target's mailing system know that the daughter's pregnant before the father does? Because they had hired this statistical analyst who identified shopping patterns for people. And it turns out they were well-worn and hard to change unless it was vulnerable life changes. Marriage, divorce, graduation, buying a new house, and of course, having a baby is a huge lifestyle change. So they knew if they could get the women to shop at Target when they were first pregnant, they just might have a customer for life. They buy the rest of the things they needed there. So, but when they directly marketed to the women, the feedback that the customers gave them was that it felt creepy. It felt like they were spied on. So this analyst was able to receive the feedback and get creative with their marketing. They started creating irrelevant offers mixed in with the relevant ones. So now a newly pregnant woman would get a mailer that was still full of baby goods, but mixed within it would be a lawnmower and wine glasses. You see, the women weren't interested in those things, but that didn't matter. It served to put them at ease. They received the feedback and applied it in a way that the women were now able to be receptive to their offers and utilize them. And in that single year of applying that feedback, they doubled their sales. And in 2002, when the analyst began this, Target went from 44 billion in sales to 67 billion in 2010. How would you love to double your sales in a single year? This is a simple example of what is possible with receiving and applying this valuable feedback. I'm going to share with you what happened for me that enabled me to become receptive to feedback almost overnight. It happened around a Friday night funk, and that's a story for another video. But in this Friday night funk that I found myself in, it was Saturday morning, the next morning, that the insight occurred. And that's what it was. It was an insight that changed the way I related and was able to receive and apply valuable feedback. I'll share this insight with you, not to say that this is the insight that you need to have, but to simply point to the profound power of insight, because it's insight that will change the way that you see, relate, and experience feedback and help you become more receptive to it. So the insight that I had on Saturday morning was I looked back at my Friday night funk the night before, and I realized, oh my goodness, I thought all of that insecure thought was personal. You see, I knew conceptually that insecure thought wasn't personal, but I didn't know until Saturday morning that I actually believed it was. And it was that experience that created a crack in my reality that changed the way that I saw, related to, and experienced insecure thought. And see, it was insecure thought that was preventing me from being able to be receptive to this valuable feedback. In his book, So Good They Can't Ignore You, author Cal Newport shares a story of how he and musician Jordan Tice pick up a guitar to learn it about the same time and put in about the same hours practicing and playing. Whereas Jordan Tice goes on to be a master and very successful musician in his field, and Cal stays at hobby level playing his guitar. See, Cal says that when he would play a song that was hard and challenging, he'd get frustrated and go back to playing the songs that he knew well and would play those over and over. Whereas Tice always had a teacher who was challenging him and giving him this valuable feedback that he would apply and do over and over again. Tice is known for spending hours on a single chord, training his fingers to move faster and smoother to get the sound more and more masterful. Valuable feedback is the thing that enables us to have more and more insight on how we can improve our offerings in the world. And if you know where to look and where to ask, you can increase your receptivity. You can increase the awareness, the insights on how to do it. Whenever I begin with a new client or a new team, I spend a great deal of time in the beginning to help them specifically to become receptive to feedback, because I know if they will, then we can leverage our work together, double and triple, and sometimes even more. So my invitation to you here is, first, is there a place that you'd like to have a bigger impact? If so, I'd invite you to just notice how you relate to feedback around that, both positive and negative, but specifically the type of feedback that will allow you to improve your offerings. How do you experience it? And my invitation is to simply notice. It can be very tempting to notice and then try to do something about it, fix it, figure it out, or become more receptive. But when you do that, you stay in the same level of thinking and you just continually kind of experience it the same way. Whereas if you just notice and leave it there, you're making space for insight. And insight is what you want here. Insight is the thing that will change the way that you see, relate, and experience feedback. It will help you create greater and greater receptivity to it, where it is the thing that helps you leverage and grow your business beyond what you can possibly imagine. I hope this video offered an insight or two that will help you utilize this resource in the profound way it's available to you. Namaste.